Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Connected. On the show we have special guest Peter Maher, CEO of the St Vincent de Paul Society, Dale Howe at Extreme Skates to talk about the do's and don'ts of skating, and Barbara Westerman will be joining me to talk about her up-and-coming business At the Drop of a Hat Productions, which makes memorial DVDs for all special occasions. Lastly, we'll be having contemporary jazz trio Trichotomy talking with us and providing an exciting performance of one of their tracks from their new EP. Also talking to Francis Cassidy about another adventure, off this time to Fiji. First, let's check out what's happening in town. American pop-punk band All Time Low will be hitting up the Tivoli on August 28. They've played sold-out shows right around the world, and their latest studio album, Don't Panic, hit the top 10 of the Billboard album charts. Singer-songwriter Josh Pike is also in town playing at the Tivoli. That's on August 31. Josh has been nominated for a number of ARIA awards, and his brand new record, The Beginning and the End of Everything, has been described as the most personal release to date. Well, the Queensland Pops Orchestra is proud to present Come Swing With Me on August 31 at the QPAC Concert Hall. The show features Tom Burlinson paying special tribute to one of the music industry's most famous contributors, the great Frank Sinatra. The Boona Arts Festival is on again from August 31 to September 7. It's sure to have the local community buzzing. There's plenty of events happening during the week, including the Scenic Rim Art Awards. The full program is available online at their website. Lots of the big shows around in town, but right now we're going to take a look at what's happening for the big events for us to visit out in this wide world. Francis Cassidy takes us travelling each week. Where are you off to this week?
We're off to Fiji, Ashley, and Bulla.
Well, same to you, girlie.
It's a greeting. Hello.
Oh, okay, that's better. I thought you were being rude to me.
No, never.
So what is it about over in Fiji that's so fascinating? You seem to be completely in awe of this place.
Well, look, I do. I love it. I used to come in contact with the Fiji people for work for many years, actually. And what I like about it is that it's a short haul. It's only about 3 hours from Brisbane, so you're not stuck in an aircraft for too long. And when you get there, there's just such a diverse range of things you can do.
Like what? What can we get up to?
Well, like all the usual things: snorkeling, swimming, tennis, golf. Some world-class golf courses over there if you're into golf. You can go cruising, catamaraning, fishing. You can go out to the local villages if you want to, and meet the local Indigenous people.
What about lazy slobs who don't want to do anything?
You can do that as well. Just lie by the pool and do nothing if that's what you want to do.
Okay, that's sounding a little bit more like it. Mm-hmm. But in all seriousness, the villages would be a really beautiful treat, I imagine, to get to see people making things, just what life is like day
Exactly.
in, day out.
And there are some areas where you can actually stay in a hut in the village, and you contribute to them financially for assistance to help them. But you also go to local markets as well, and you can see some beautiful handmade carvings and that sort of thing, which of course you have to declare when you come back into Australia.
Of course,
yes.
As if you'd try anything else, Francis.
Exactly.
That's right. So in terms of the number of people going and the types of people going, is it always still maintaining this large population? Because I've been always hearing of people going up to Fiji for a break.
Well, Australia and New Zealand are the biggest markets for Fiji at the moment, even though they are trying to diversify into other areas, because we're so close. It's so convenient. We don't need a visa on entry. We just need a valid passport with 6 months validity on it. And when you get there, you can do cruises if you want to, like 3 days, 7-day cruise around the Yasawa Islands, which are up to the north of the main island of Viti Levu. So there's a lot of things, to occupy yourself with. You just, so long as your wallet's there, you're right.
And isn't it expensive?
Well, that's all relative, isn't it?
Yes.
What some people think is expensive, others don't.
Well,
So,
I guess putting it in that way, but you could do it at a fairly budget level.
Oh, you could go as a backpacker if you wanted to, or a 2-star hotel. You don't have to stay in 5-star because there's quite a variety of accommodation there. You can catch the local buses, which is always a bit of a buzz, or you can hire a car.
Thanks, Francis. Well, with spring coming up, Fiji sounds pretty promising idea right about now, so we do thank you very much for telling us all about that. Don't move. Still to come is Peter Maher to talk about how you can help St Vincent de Paul this year. Stay connected. Welcome back. St Vincent de Paul is a charitable organisation that helps our families in need, refugees as well as disadvantaged children. I'm joined by a very special man, Peter Maher, who's the CEO of St Vincent de Paul, to talk about how you can get involved this year. Welcome, Peter.
Thank you very much.
Well, of course, as always, community is always in need. I guess over the last probably 2 years, we've had significant need, but the needs never seem to change, and people are always in need. What sort of drain is that on you as an organisation?
Look, we're constantly being called for our services right throughout the state. St Vincent de Paul has over 8,000 members and volunteers across the state. We run 127 Vinnie shops, and constantly we're having people calling us needing assistance, and we assist anybody regardless of race, creed or religion.
Now, of course, it is a well-known organisation, but is there always the opportunity where people can sort of take it for granted that St Vinnie's will always be there or any other organisation will be there, but they forget to give you stuff?
Look, they often do, and we rely really heavily on the support from the local community. As the lead up towards Christmas, we have a lot of people requesting assistance during Christmas time. I remember speaking to a mother one day who told me that she had absolutely nothing to give her children 2 days before Christmas, and St Vincent de Paul came in and gave her items, and this lady has come back ever since and has donated to the society and also assisted as a volunteer. So we often get people who, through no fault of their own, need to come to St Vincent de Paul.
And sure, that was the point I was going to raise actually, Peter, is in the sense that sometimes people do just fall upon hard times, and it's not for always, but just for that season of time, and they need the help that you provide.
Look, particularly leading up to Christmas, is probably the time where we have the largest number of domestic violence issues and marriage breakups, and often these are again through no fault of the individual, or situations just don't work out, and so people can be left on the streets and homeless.
So how do we actually come and provide support for you that's meaningful in any occasion throughout the year?
Well, look, we obviously would encourage people to go to our website, and from there they can donate. They can also donate items of clothing or furniture, good quality clothing or furniture, because the best quality material that we receive actually gets given firstly to those in need.
And I guess that's a really important thing too, because we often see that people almost give away their junk, and it's not that you're not willing to take stuff, but again, it says something to the person receiving it, doesn't it? That they're feeling bad enough about themselves, they don't need to get kind of trash.
No. Well, our response is we want to give a person a bit of dignity, and it's about giving them a hand up.
Yes.
And so in order to do that, you need to have good quality items that you can give them. And also, we're not a site for people dumping rubbish, because that takes our resources to have to take it to the tip.
Thanks very much, Peter. And if you'd like to get involved with St Vincent de Paul, you can check them out at the W's, vinnies.org.au. But for now, I have Barbara Westerman joining me on the show. Welcome, Barbara.
Thank you.
And you have a production company called At the Drop of a Hat Productions.
I do, yes.
Now, it's probably in an unusual kind of area in the sense that you're dealing with those celebrations of life at a time when people have passed away, and you're really now trying to help work with people who are going through grief and how you come to some sort of celebration of life. That must be a tough gig.
Not really. It's just a passion. It's a passion I've had for a long time, where to be able to help people out in these circumstances that haven't got the ability to be able to produce anything at that time, like a memorial DVD or an order of service. I find it a great privilege to be able to help these people. I don't have any issues with chatting to them or things like that.
So do you find that people really, when they're actually starting to go through the photos and their memories, that I guess in some ways you could end up being caught up for hours by the time they tell your whole life story? Yes,
that's true. A lot of people will come along and lay out every photo out for me and describe every single person that's in it, and whereas other people just come along, they've got a pile of photos and they just say, here, do with it what you do.
So you go anywhere from those who are completely anal, who've got it all organised and know exactly where they're heading to, there, do what you can.
That's right. They're not even in any order. So, and that can be difficult, trying to work out how old the person is as to trying to get it in some sort of photo order. So I usually set up a folder that's got young, not so young and old, and just sort of
Work
put the
your way
photos
through
in
it.
and work my way through
Yeah.
it.
And it isn't only people, you're even doing pets.
Oh yes, yes. For those out there who love the pets, people love their animals, and to be able to sit down and actually reminisce and go through all the fun times or the sad times with their animals, and just remember, it's very important.
Yeah. And so beyond that now, it's really sort of moved out to 21st and weddings and a whole range of
Absolutely.
things. Even holidays.
Holidays, yes. Well, who wants to sit in front of slides for a slide night, really?
Well, that's right. So you save us.
I do, absolutely. So you sit there and you put the DVD on, it just plays in the background. We'll put music to it, and yeah, so it's better than sitting there going through all the
Yes.
boring slides.
So the tip is, if you hear someone come home and say, "Oh, I've got 1,000 photos taken," that's the time to call you.
Absolutely.
And get it sorted
Yes.
into something that's very manageable.
Yes,
Sounds like a good idea.
yes, yeah.
Beyond that, you're also doing web design work.
Yes, last year I did a diploma of interactive digital media and was introduced to the world of web design. Absolutely love it. Very, very passionate about mobile friendly. The research says these days that everyone, 90%, not everyone, 90% of people will access the internet via a mobile device.
Okay.
So that's where my passion lies. And if you look at my website on a mobile phone,
Plenty of examples of it.
yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So your web address, if people want to contact you.
www.drophatproductions.com.
Okay, so that's where we can find you and
Yes.
get an example of what you're talking about.
Absolutely.
Barb,
yeah.
thanks so much for coming in and talking to us.
Thank you.
And coming up after the break, we'll be joining Dale at Extreme Skates to talk about the do's and don'ts of skating. We also have a wonderful performance by Trichotomy, and we'll talk to them also about what's coming up for them as a band. Stay connected. I don't know why these wheels won't work. Oh, sorry about that. Welcome back to Connected, and talking about skateboarding. We thought we'd pop out to see Dale at Extreme Skates at Taringa to get to know all the know-hows of skateboard maintenance and customisation. I certainly need some help.
G'day, welcome to Extreme Skates in Taringa. My name's Dale, and today I'm going to teach you how to set up a skateboard, what parts to look for, and how to maintain the board. First, I'll teach you how to choose a deck. The first thing to take into consideration when choosing a deck is the size. Decks vary in width from 7.5 to 8.5 inches, with some even bigger. I prefer to ride an 8-inch deck, but anything a little over is okay with me. Choosing a shape is 100% up to you. I prefer a more pointed tail, while some people will prefer a broader tail. Brands like Baker and Deathwish have the more pointed tail, while brands like Firstwood, Girl, Chocolate and Stereo will have a broader shaped tail. The best way for you to know how to choose a board is to come into a shop and stand on a few. Some will feel right, some won't, and once you get the right shape, then you can choose your graphic. Don't let that be the first consideration. Now that we've chosen a board, let's get it gripped. The grip is quite personal. Once again, talk to the guys in the skate shop. They'll know what's good. Today I'm using Black Magic grip tape. Sometimes I prefer nothing on my grip tape. Other times I like a picture, some artwork, or even just to cut some lines into it. All you have to do is put your grip on, push it down, making sure there's no bubbles. Get a screwdriver and wear away the edge. Then get a sharp razor blade and cut around. Remove the grip tape and use it to sand the sides of your board. Then punch your holes. Clean them out and you're ready to roll. Now the board's gripped, let's go shoot some parts. In my opinion, choosing trucks is the most important part of building a skateboard. Your trucks will outlast 10 to 12 decks, they'll outlast 5 to 6 sets of wheels, and about the same in bearings. Choosing light trucks for your skateboard means you'll probably be able to ollie higher and flip faster, and your consistency will be improved. For this board, we're going to go with some Thunders. And next we'll choose wheels. Wheels vary in shape and size. The width and the diameter are your two most important aspects. Choosing a large wide wheel will mean you'll ride smoother over rough surfaces, but you'll also have more traction. This is good for transition and skating ramps, but in the street it can be detrimental. I personally prefer a thin wheel around 52 to 53 millimeters, so let's go with that today. I always skate motor bearings, so let's get a set and build this board. So first, take out your bolts. So we pop the bolts in the board. I always put a couple of blue ones up the front to point out the nose of the board. Turn the board on its side and attach the truck. The kingpin on a skate truck is on the inside of the board. Don't put them on backwards or you'll lean left and turn right. You need to make sure the trucks are nice and tight on the board and stay tight. Loose trucks creates wobble and your board can break. Tighten your trucks diagonally. It's the same principle as loosening a car tire. If you tighten your trucks one side and then the other, they won't tip flush. Push the wheels into each other. Then take them off, flip them around, and push the bearing into the other side. Make sure they're rolling smoothly, and then put your washers back on, and tighten your axle nuts. Turn the axle nut till it's tight, then back off a quarter to a half of a turn. Make sure the wheel still spins. Once your wheels are on, get your skate tool, and tighten your trucks. So now you're ready to go and skate. Remember to skate safe and within your limits, and remember that persistence is the key. At Extreme Skates, we sponsor a lot of up-and-coming talent. So if you think you've got what it takes, feel free to send in a video.
Well, thanks, Dale. Now I'll be able to get around the streets with my own board. Believe that, you'll believe anything. Our next guest on the show is a jazz band trio who go by the name of Trichotomy. Let's welcome to the show Samuel, John and Sean. Great to have you with us.
No way, thanks indeed.
So let's get the name out the way. Why Trichotomy?
Well, I suppose it's a bit of a strange story. We actually had a different name for many years, which was Misinterpretato, which is pretty much unspellable and very difficult to pronounce. But we really liked it, and I think after a while we were getting more popular and overseas as well, so we made a bit of a decision to change it to something slightly more pronounceable.
That's right.
And it means something split into three parts,
yes.
So that was apt.
So it all works beautifully for what you're doing. So where are you finding yourselves performing these days?
A lot of gigs around Brisbane, of course, our hometown. A lot of gigs nationally, so we travel to Sydney, Melbourne, Perth, for festivals and events and jazz clubs and things like that, art centres. But we do spend a lot of time touring, and the last tour that I think we went on together was China. We went to China a couple of years ago, and last year we went to the UK. So we travel annually overseas to festivals and all kinds of stuff.
That's fantastic. So you and John, you came together back in the late 90s. Sam, you're a later edition.
Yeah, much later.
Yeah.
I've only just officially joined.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you're just a member now.
That's right.
And so with the travelling, I mean, how do you get along? It must be fairly intense when you're constantly together.
Yeah, there hasn't been any blood spilt.
It's been all good.
No, it's
Not
been-
yet.
That's right.
So in terms of around the local market, though, do you have some fairly regular gigs you do?
Yeah, I mean, maybe you want to...
Yeah, we try to. We used to do lots and lots of gigs in Brisbane many years ago, but we try to do less gigs but better gigs. So maybe something at a arts centre as opposed to a pub. Not that there's really any pubs that you can play in.
That's right.
Yeah.
But now you've got the album that's out too now, so we've got the Trichotomy as the latest album. And when's that been released?
It came out not very long ago. We've just finished a series of launch gigs, and so it's only been out a few months, and it's our 5th album, I think.
Okay, great.
Yeah, wow,
Okay.
so it's a few now.
Yep. So Trichotomy is online, so people can find out more detail about that.
Absolutely, you can listen to the whole thing online at trichotomymusic.com, and it's with a great label, Melbourne-based label called Jazz Head, so you can find out heaps about it
Okay.
through them.
And if people are at performances, I imagine they can buy them there as well.
Of course,
They have to.
And autographed, of course, but you can't get out. That's the
yeah,
whole
that's,
point.
that's how we work it
Yeah.
usually. And actually, for this one, we saved some money and tried to do something a bit special and pressed it on vinyl as
Okay.
well. So
Right.
we've got these amazing, huge, thick vinyl, which is it sounds wonderful. It's really
Fantastic. All those clicks we used to love with vinyl, we won't do that.
Yes.
Okay, let's get you guys to please introduce for us the track we're about to listen to from the album.
happy. Sure. This one is the first song off the album. It's called Strom. It's a piece that we did this film clip for with a good friend of ours, a Brisbane-based director, Danny McShane, and it was a marathon shoot. Well, not a marathon shoot, but a 2-day kind of grueling shoot in regional Queensland, and I think you'll kind of see the pain on our faces as we go through the clip. So enjoy.
And thanks for that magnificent performance there from Trichotomy. Don't forget you can check them out at trichotomymusic.com. Unfortunately, that is all the time we have for this week. I'd like to thank Peter Marr, Dale Howe, Barbara Westerman, and of course Francis Cassidy for coming in on the program this week. And thanks also again to Trichotomy for that great performance. Check us out at connecttv.com.au. Don't forget to join us next week where we'll have plenty more in store. Until then, stay connected.